All right. So today we're going to get started with our weekly sales training, something new we'll be doing. So today we're going to be basically just kind of going through basics, kind of understanding a little bit of what everybody does. It's going to be an open session, but really what I want to do is I want to start talking, about my focus, as many of you know, is working by referral. In our company, one of our big trainers that we follow, that I've followed for years, is Brian Buffini. And I think one of the biggest things is, staying in touch with your sphere of influence. So, before I get started talking about, how I view working with sphere of influence, I'd like to open it up to everybody on this call here, and hear a little bit of what you guys do for your sphere of influence. How do you stay in touch with them? What do you do? What's your consistency? Tell me a little bit about what you all are doing right now. And I'm going to open it up and let you guys jump in and talk a little bit about that. So feel free to jump in, somebody. Anybody?
Not doing nearly enough, which is why I'm sitting here talking to you, Rob.
All right, good deal. So you're not doing nearly enough. So tell me a little bit about what we're doing now.
Right now, I do like an annual calendar that I send out just as a marketing piece to try and stay in touch with people. I figure they can slap it on their fridge and look at me all year round. But I try to check in with people periodically. Sold clients, I'll check in on their anniversary dates, basically, and say hello, see how the year's been and whatnot. Little things to try to stay in touch, but I need to set up more in terms of like a newsletter or a mailer or something to go out more regularly to try to stay in touch, top of mind.
Okay, good stuff. Somebody else, anybody else? What do you do for your sphere of influence? What do you stay in touch with? Do you mail? Do you use calendars? Do you call? Do you stop by? Anybody else? All right, I'm going to give you guys 10 more seconds. Come on, someone must do something.
Hey, Rob, it's Craig. As you know, I'm new to the industry, but I like the personal touch. I use phone calls. And one thing that I have started to do is send everybody market reports, what's going on in their area.
Great. Awesome. All right, good deal. Anybody else? We got a couple other people on here who I know have been in the business for a bit. Anybody else want to jump in real quick before? Love to hear from you guys. This is interactive.
Yeah, this is Sarah. I'm relatively new, so I haven't done much sort of follow-up or stuff, but I would definitely be interested in what Craig had just said about doing like what's going on in your market area. I definitely wanting to do that. I haven't done something like that though.
Awesome. We're going to show you something cool today then.
Okay.
All right. Well, so we'll get, let's dive in. So, I think one of the things to start off with is stating the obvious. None of us probably stay in touch with our sphere of influence nearly enough. Whether you've been in the business 2 weeks or 20 years, I think one of the biggest things that we all make the mistake of is not staying in touch with our sphere of influence enough. And that's what we're going to really talk about in these sessions, is trying to build our business working more by referral. So, when we talk about referral, just to kind of start with the basics, guys, I think, the first thing, that we all need to do more of is touch base with them more. We're all taught something at a very young age that I think we all forget very quickly. And that's, if we don't ask, you don't receive. I'm sure many of you on this call today have kids, and I'm sure you teach your kids that. And I think the other thing that we have to keep in mind here, with something we, all hear when we're kids and carries through life, is, out of sight, out of mind. So I think one of the biggest mistakes that agents in this industry, as a whole make with our sphere of influence is we don't touch base with them enough. We need to be talking to our sphere of influence. We need to be reaching out on a consistent basis. We need to be, communicating on, on really a monthly touch, whether it's through email, phone calls, pop-bys. So let's start at the basics and give you guys kind of a simple lay of the land, and I think the first thing to do, and, my first suggestion to you, and, what I'd like to do is kind of going through these weekly sessions is to kind of see how people do by following along with some of these things. And I think the first thing that everybody should be challenged to do this week is narrow down your database to your top 100. I think there's no reason you can't have 10,000 people in your database, but it's virtually impossible to generate referrals when we're trying to do everything for 10,000 people. So I find the best way to really manage this is by just chasing simply 100 people. It makes it easy for you to create more consistency to these top 100. And, the simplest way to describe the top 100 is, I think everybody on here, I'm sure you've been on LinkedIn at some point or another. And one of the things you'll notice when you go to LinkedIn is that you can have, X amount of first degree connections, but you always see that note of second degree connection, which means that someone you're not friends with, but one of your friends is friends with that person. And that's how we have to look at our sphere of influence is that, if we market to 100 people consistently and brand to them that we want referrals, I think the big thing is that, moving forward, they're going to be marketing on average. They're going to be seeing and communicating with roughly 100 people as well. So your database reach when you focus on 100 is really 10,000. So, by putting more emphasis on 100 people on a consistent basis.
Yeah, so I'm actually, I'm excited that worked out well.
No, I thought they were excited about me, but it must be something else.
All right, buddy.
No, that's Len. We'll mute him. So, basically it's targeting those people on a consistent basis creates that reach. So, I think, one of the other things that was mentioned right at the beginning, and Joe, I'm going to pick on you a little bit here, so no offense, but, I think it's the something I always point out is, one of the things a lot of us do, I see them all the time. I've got them on my fridge, the holiday magnets, the yearly calendars, the sports teams, schedules, things like that. There's no communication there. There's no asking for referrals. Granted, you're reminding them you're in the business, but let's face it, every time they go to the fridge to get a snack, they're not thinking about, who can I go find Joe or, for a referral this week? We have to ask. So, that's where I find the biggest issue in this industry is asking for the business. So how do we do that? Well, we have to start to reach out and touch people. So I really go by 4 basic, steps for each client. And let's talk about that. That's what we want to talk about today is really what these 4 basics are to working your sphere of influence. So we start with really 4 basic things. Phone calls. Picking up the phone and calling these people on a regular basis. Handwritten note cards. Note cards are one of the best things you can do in this business. It has such a personal touch that it really expands your business by creating that personal touch, but also by creating, an experience. And we'll talk more about that. The third thing is a pop-by. Stopping by a customer's house, 2 to 3 times a year with a small gift, because the best thing about the pop-bys is it's face-to-face. The best type of communication with your sphere of influence is to be able to look them in the eye and ask for business. And then the 4th thing is sending a newsletter. And we're going to cover all that here today. But let's kind of break down these 4 steps today and, expand on that, and we'll move forward over the next, several weeks. But let's start by talking about that phone call. And I think one of the things is we're all afraid to pick up the phone. We're going to share my screen in a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to be pulling up my database because I think the key, the center to this, and hopefully you guys have all seen my Zap boot camp we did on Friday. If you haven't, you can check it out at c21netraining.com. We had our first session of our Zap boot camp, and I think the key to every good sphere of influence is your CRM that you can control your business with. So let's talk about the phone call. And we're going to pull up my CRM here. So when we talk about the phone call to your customer, I think the biggest thing we need to look at is the fact that with these people, and we're just logging in here. Sorry about that, guys. So with these people, it's a matter of communicating on a consistent basis. And, these are just personal phone calls. It's picking up the phone and talking to somebody. So I think when, we really look, we do it all the time. But the key is we're not asking for the business. So these phone calls, these are something that your top 100 people, you just want to pick up the phone and call them every 60 days or so. But it's just like when you call a friend and catch up. We talk about maybe some of the things that we talked about in the past. Maybe the last time I talked to, let's just say, Rob. Rob was getting ready to go on vacation. Where was Rob going? What was he doing? Maybe the kids had something. Maybe something was going on in his life. Maybe it was someone who was sick. Maybe someone had a child. Whatever. This is why a CRM is so important, because what it does is it basically allows us to really look and communicate and be able to converse on a relational level. So that's where the CRM comes in handy. So, we're going to just pull up my screen here. So just someone out there, let me know you can see my Zap database. Can you guys see my Zap screen?
Not yet.
All right.
No, we get your desktop background or something, the Bruins logo, and
How about now?
there you go.
All right. So, we're going to pull up me here, and this is just kind of my dummy training piece. But one of the things I'm going to post today online, and I'll send out a link to follow up with, guys, is I'm going to give you a list of 40 different traits that have nothing to do with real estate. These are things like, what's their religion? What college did they go to? What's their favorite sport team? What's their favorite restaurant? Who's their favorite author? All these different questions. What kind of car do they drive? Because it's almost like we're doing a write-up and we're understanding who that person is. And these personal traits are so important because it makes a conversation easier. It makes it for us to read into the client and reward them with things that they like. So by doing this, we're really keeping a history, and that's what these tags are. And that's why these are so important to have a CRM in front of you, because I can look here and say, okay, maybe I'm on the phone with Rob today and I see he's a Boston Bruins fan. Well, what's the first thing I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about Game 6 last night, and you're going to have these conversations because now it's more organic. Now, when we make these conversations and we have these conversations, one of the big things is we need to make sure that we keep it on that personal level. And what's going to happen is you're going to find that a lot of people actually bring up to you that question. What's that biggest question, guys, that we get every day from people who know we are real estate agents?
What's going
How's
on
the
in the market?
market?
There we go. How's the market? If you are not getting asked how's the market on a consistent basis from your closest friends and family, they don't know what you do enough. They're not remembering it enough. Because the great thing about this business is that everybody wants to talk real estate. Everybody wants to ask that question. How's business? How's the market? Does everybody out there get that question from people who know you're in the business?
Definitely.
Everybody loves to chat. So I always, the way I look at that, is with real estate. I've been teaching real estate. I've been running a real estate company for a long time. And I think the biggest thing that's really evolved in this business is the consumer side, wanting to know about what this business has going on. Because when we look back, the simple answer is, when we look at the recession, let's say it was 07 to 2010, 2011, that 3 to 4 year period of pain for all of us, no matter what you were doing at the time. But when everybody looks at the real estate recession, it was real estate and mortgage that the media portrayed as the bad guys and the cure and the cause of our recession. So when the consumer goes out there and the modern person, they look at, at an agent and they just want to know how's business, how's the market, because they put that as part of their life. If the market's starting to slow down, I want to know now because I need to make changes in my life because the real estate and mortgage industry cause and cure a recession. So knowing this for your customers is very important. So what you're going to find is that 80% of the time when you make these just check-in calls, how's it going, how's the family, how's the kids, that type of conversation, 80% of the time statistically, they're going to bring up real estate, not you, with the simple question, how's business, how's the market? If they do not bring up real estate, you do one thing. Listen, Rob, don't forget, if you know of someone looking to buy or sell, I'd love to work with them. That is your new way of saying goodbye. How many people on this call ask for referrals on a consistent basis like that?
Not me.
I ask everyone I talk to, you know anyone that's looking to buy or sell?
You do it consistently.
Definitely.
Good. Good. So I think that's, to me is one of the weak areas that we have because we feel like we're almost becoming, and I use this word because I love hearing it in, this business, I hear it all the time, is we don't want to be car salesmen. Well, if a past job for you was a car salesman, I apologize. But, when we think about that statement, people who are car salesmen, how often are we asking them, how's business, how's the car market? We're not. We're not looking to continue a relationship after we buy a car. When we sell a home, we are part of the family. When you sell a house, you're going to birthday parties, you're going to weddings, you're going to anniversaries. You are part of the family now when you sell a home. So these calls are friendly, easy calls. So the key is when we do a call, you'll see on my screen here, logging the call. One of the things that I'm very diligent with on CRM is really taking my notes from my phone calls. And this has been a huge thing for me. Now, my database, guys, my CRM is for recruiting. But I use it the same exact way that I teach you because it's the same thing. And you know what? There's some of you on this call that are part of my database that I recruited. And you guys know how I followed up and how I worked that. And the reason is because of my CRM. If I didn't have my CRM, a lot of you probably wouldn't be sitting on this call here today because it's about the follow-up. It's about the consistency. It's about the notes. It's about having a system help me run my life. So, coming in, be detailed with your call notes. Write down events that they're talking about. Write down traits. Write down anything that can be part of a future conversation or something that can help you learn more or approach that customer. The other thing to look in here real quickly is, did I reach Rob? Yes or no? So, I want to point out something that's so simple that this CRM has changed for me. We used to go in and I'd put in my CRM notes and let's just say, Rob didn't answer. And I left a voicemail. Well, now what I would do is I'd simply put in that note. And how many of us would really track if they called back? Can anybody out there say, because I'll tell you guys, I didn't. So I'll be the first to admit I did not do it. Does anybody else out there track if you leave a voicemail and see if someone calls you back?
I try to. It's not always consistent on every time, but I do try to keep a record of when I did reach them. Was there any, talking points that were something to follow up on or something down the road?
And what are you using for that, Joe?
I have a CRM that I've been using since I got started in it, but I'm trying to work into Zap and similarities and whatnot.
Great. Awesome. So, I think one of the biggest things, guys, is something so simple is that fact that when you leave a voicemail, and I feel like that's one of the biggest mistakes that I used to make because I'd leave a voicemail. What would happen is I'd schedule my reminder for 3 months out and I'd look and I'd say, oh, I got to call them again. Well, they never call me back after that last time. I kind of feel silly now. I feel embarrassed almost like, geez, I left you a voicemail. Now I'm calling you back 3 months later. I kind of feel like a goof. So what I do after I leave a voicemail every single time, I simply add a reminder, did they call back? And I set it for 3 days out. So now 3 days out, I'm not pushy. You know, if you got something going on the next couple of days, no worries. I'm not going to bother you. You know, I put it for 3 days out, and maybe I don't follow up with a phone call. Maybe I send him a text. Hey, Rob, left you a message on Monday. Just wanted to reach out, see how things are going, see how the family is, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I get a response that way. You know, one of the other things I do is I look at what time I called them. When I go to call them back, I might look and say, well, you know what? The last time I called Rob, it was 10:27 in the morning. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call him at 4:30 today. Try him at the other end of the day. Let's see if maybe he's an afternoon guy. Maybe he's got kids in the morning. Maybe he has, you know, another job. Maybe he has this or that, whatever. It's tracking that data. But the key is listening on those calls and learning more about that customer. Kids' names. You know, it's very simple to say, how's the kids or how's Mikey and Juliana? One, same message. One's more personal. One secretly builds a stronger relationship. So those phone calls are very key. So with a phone call, the consistency that I like to work with is every 2 months. 100 people every 2 months. Might sound like a lot to you. It's not. It's actually really simple. So let's take out weekends out of that, you know, because I don't want to bother people on the weekends. They got enough to do. So leaves me with about 50 days over the next 2 months. 50 days. Okay, I got 50 days to make phone calls. Well, I got 100 people to call, and I got 50 days. That breaks down to 2 personal phone calls a day. That's easy, guys. These are, you know, I'll clean it up because we're recording today, but it's shooting the crap calls. Picking up the phone and shooting the crap and having a friendly conversation. And typically they're going to bring up real estate and you're going to get your, you know, 2 minutes of real estate time in there. Great. That's the point of it. So now if we figure, okay, I'm setting my reminders. So I just go back to my dashboard here real quick. Now all I'm doing is if I'm making these calls every 60 days, I'm consistently, you know, staying on track where I'm just looking at my reminders every day and running through my reminders. You know, and I'm automatically going to call them every 2 months consistently. But now I'm just going into my CRM, and with Zap, we give you the mobile app that makes it even easier to do this, because now when you're in the, you know, in the car, maybe driving around, you know, heading to an appointment, you just left an appointment, you're heading to pick the kids up from school, whatever, it's easy to make these conversations in between. And that was one of the biggest things that changed for me, was having a great mobile app, because now I was able to do it from anywhere as opposed to having to sit in my office, make the time to do that. Well, in the car, I've got time that I've got voids to fill. You know, instead of listening to, you know, the Sports Hub today, I'll make a few phone calls. Okay, I don't get the Bruins recap. That's okay. I got 2 referrals. I'm cool with that. So the phone calls are so important, guys, and it needs to be consistent. So get in the habit of finding your 100 people and making 2 of these phone calls a day, but then schedule the reminders so you stay consistent. The next thing I always look at is a handwritten note card. You know, to me, a handwritten note is worth its weight in gold. And, you know, in some of these future sessions, which I have set up, we're going to talk about the relationship with buyers and sellers and really enhancing that to generate more referrals as well, because how we treat these people can really make a difference in our referral income as well. But we're going to save that for another day. What we're going to specifically talk about today is really just the note card itself. And, you know, we'll talk about a lot of reasons throughout these calls on why and how to send a handwritten note card. But just to kind of list out a few reasons real quick, guys, you know, when you're going on a listing presentation or you leave a listing presentation, you're working with a new buyer, a new seller, you know, referrals, things like that. But just think of the fact that when you get a new buyer, and I sit down with you and we have a discussion and I say, listen, Rob, anything you need day or night, you know, 24/7, don't ever hesitate to pick up the phone and call me, because I am here to make this process as easy as possible for you and as enjoyable as possible. I could say that to you and really be passionate. I could be the best actor in the world. But I take that same dialogue and I put it into a handwritten note card and I mail it to my buyer after our first meeting. Get it right in the mail. Promptness is great. they get that note card. That note card means more to them. It's something that they're going to remember. It's something that's going to make that relationship stronger. By making that relationship stronger, you're also giving them something to talk about. They're going to talk to their friends and family about how great you are, how you take care of them. That is going to breed referrals, because the biggest reason we give referrals is so we look good. Me, the person giving the referral, wants to look good when I refer, Jim to Michelle and say, hey, Jim's the best agent in the world. Michelle, he's going to take care of you. Well, with Jim making that experience really exceptional for me, it makes me want to go out and refer to him. If Jim kind of did a crappy job, well, I'm not giving that referral, because selfishly, we give referrals so we look good. So the person on the other end is getting a referral that basically they look good because that person is taken care of. We all selfishly do it. We know we do. So these handwritten note cards are such a big piece of that, because it's how you treat your client. One of the things that I always say when I'm talking about buyers or sellers is under promise and over deliver. Create an experience for them. By creating that experience and really over delivering, it's going to make everybody want to make sure that every one of their friends and families buys or sells through you, because of the experience you create and how you treat people. You go on a listing presentation. To be able to leave that listing presentation and write a note and get it right in the mailbox. Hey, Rob, it was great meeting with you. I hope to have the opportunity to help list your home. If you have any questions following our meeting, please do not hesitate to contact me. I'm here 24/7. I will be there to make this as easy as possible. I send that note, that builds a relationship. I can tell you, agents who have taken this program have gotten listings over other agents because of that handwritten note card. It makes a great relationship. Well, the biggest reason that I always talk about handwritten notes for is a simple phrase that I use all the time that I got from Buffini. Reward behavior, not results. So I want to open up a question real quick and see what you guys all have to say. So I'm sure many of you out here have gotten referrals from clients or friends or family or whatever. If I called you today and said, agent, I've got a person for you that wants to buy a house, take care of them. What would you do for me today or at the end? What are some of your processes with rewarding your referrals?
Gift card or take them to dinner.
When?
Excuse
When
me?
you get the lead or when you close on the lead?
Actually, when I get the lead, because I want them to keep sending me leads. Not just when I close.
Good. Great. Awesome answer. Anybody else? Come on, guys. I know you guys do something.
Yeah, kind of same idea with the gift card. If someone gives me a referral, almost immediately I'll write them a quick handwritten note, and thank them for the referral. And I always put them there, no matter the outcome, I certainly appreciate it. That way they don't feel bad if this person doesn't actually complete a transaction. It's still thanking them for just referring me.
Right. Good. Come on, anybody else? We've got a bunch of you guys on the call here. Wake up. Let's go. Don't be shy, guys. Come on. One more person. Tell me what you do for referrals. Somebody else hop in. All right. I'm going to take it easy on you guys this week because it's the first week of this training. Next week, I'm going to pick on you guys. I see names on here. So next week, I'm going to pick on you. I'm going to call people out because we want to hear what you're doing. It's okay if you're doing nothing, guys. That's why we're having these calls. We want to learn from each other as well. So feedback in these sessions is so important for me and for you guys. So any feedback, any jump in, don't be afraid. Speak up. So let me tell you about my approach for rewarding my referrals. So I do two things. I do something when I get a referral, and I do something when we close on a referral. Now, keep in mind, I do not compete with you guys. So my referrals all go straight out to agents and through the company. I don't compete. I don't do any deals. But at the end of the day, I still like getting referrals because when the deal closes, I make a few bucks. There's nothing wrong with that. So what I do is I want my friends and family to still come to me. So when I get a referral, the first thing I do is I'll match it up with an agent. The next thing I do is the person who sent me the referral, I'm going to write them a handwritten note. This is one of the few things I do still write handwritten notes for. Now, I get that, and what I do is that lead could go nowhere. So I'm going to be a little cheap at the beginning, but it's about rewarding them. It's not about how much, it's about the respect. So when I get a lead, because it may go nowhere, what I typically do is I write them a note. Hey, Jim, thank you so much for sending me Rob. I really appreciate it. Listen, anybody else you know looking to buy or sell a house, I'd love to work with them as well. Do me a favor. Go have a cup of coffee on me. Simple $10 Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks card. But with the concept of listening, maybe I find that that person doesn't drink coffee. It's just $10, but you give them something that you can try to think they like. So, I'll use a specific example. I had one of my best friends about a year ago give me a lead, and I know he doesn't drink coffee. So instead of sending him a $10 Dunks or Starbucks card, I sent him a $10 Panera gift card because I know he goes to Panera for lunch every once in a while. So it's not about the monetary value. It's about the fact that I showed an appreciation for that lead. Now, let's face it, statistically, 33% of leads close from referrals. So I think it's a little bit higher, but statistically it's 33%. So let's just say if we get 10 leads, 3 are going to close. I send out $100. I am profitable on that, guys. That's a great profit, and I'm going to get more referrals, even from the people who I didn't convert into a buyer because their credit score was, 450. But that person thought of me. I sent them a thank you, and they're going to keep sending me people because I respected it. I appreciated it. So we do that step. We take care of them as soon as we get a lead. Every time we get a lead, we get that right in the mail. It's part of your day. You keep those note cards and those gift cards right on your desk. So every night before you finish up, you get that out. That's a must. The second thing I do is when the deal closes. So now the referral closes, we close on the deal. Well, now, because like I showed you guys in my CRM, we track things. So I go through my CRM here and I see that Rob likes Texas Roadhouse. So, I see in this business a lot, we go and buy gift cards for things that we like, that we enjoy a lot of times. Well, we all have different likes and interests. So, I always use the example. One of the gift cards I see in this business a lot is Capital Grille. Good food, nice place. But when I think about Capital Grille, someone, if they give me a gift card, here's how it goes for me. They give me a $100 gift card. The first thought that comes to my mind is, where's the other $100? Because if I take my wife, Michelle, to dinner, it's going to cost me probably $2+, and you gave me a gift card for $100. So thank you for giving me a gift card that I have to go spend money at. That's my first thought. But I'm a guy that, I just like the Texas Roadhouse better. It's more enjoyable for me. It's my style. Can't knock my style. But now I know when I get that Capital Grille, I'm not going to use it right away. So what happens, it sits in my drawer, it sits in the kitchen drawer, it sits in your safe, whatever. But now, when it comes time to use it and I go use it, I may not remember who gave it to me. But when I get something I like and I enjoy, I'm probably going to use it quick enough that I'm going to remember you. It's going to make an impact in my head. And then I'm going to go to dinner. And the best part of going to dinner and using a gift card is when that check comes and you use a gift card and it doesn't cost you a penny, you're pretty excited for that person who gave you that gift card. But it's a sign of appreciation, and you're giving them something that they actually will use and enjoy. Make sense, guys?
Definitely.
So how many people do that? Does anybody do that now, kind of listen and get them something they like, or do you guys just kind of go and get them something you think they'd like?
Kind of get them something I think they'll like.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just, if I'm not sure, I'll play safe and do Amazon.
Okay.
Everybody does.
And I think with that even, sometimes it's, they may not be, I'll tell you guys, my mother gets Amazon gift cards. She has no idea how to use them. She uses Amazon, but putting in the gift cards too much of an extra step for her. So even with that stuff, you got to be careful with who you're giving it to, know your audience. And that's why if we're having these calls, if we're talking to these people on a consistent basis, the key is over time, we're going to know what they like. Right now, if we don't know what they like, it means that we're not talking and relating to them enough. Any questions on that, guys? Okay. So the third thing I always like to touch on is what we call pop buys. Pop buys are simply little gifts that we're going to stop by somebody's house 2 to 3 times a year with. Let's give you guys some examples. First, one of my favorite ones was a 6-in-1, those orange-handled screwdrivers. And what we do is we put a little pop-by tag. We call them pop-by tags. We put a little tag, a little slogan on it, maybe promoting yourself. But this slogan was, don't get screwed by another realtor. Call Rob for all your real estate needs. Easter time, we do peeps. Have your peeps call my peeps. And you just get creative. These do not need to be expensive gifts, guys. These are things that could cost you $1 or less. But it's the fact that you get to go up in front of someone and see them face to face. Summertime, we've done ketchup, mustard, and relish Heinz 3-packs. Let's catch up and let me help you relish in your investment. Call Rob for all your real estate needs. I'll put a sticker of that right on the ketchup bottle, because what are we all going to do during the summer at some point or another? Probably have a barbecue. Probably going to have a barbecue. And you know what? When someone squeezes that ketchup bottle, it's not a bad thing to have them ask her what the heck this sticker is. One of my favorite ones we did last year was for Halloween. We did booze bags, and we did 2 Shipyard pumpkin ales, some mini chocolates, because even as adults, we still want chocolate. We did a little flyer on the current market conditions. And the key is by doing these pop-buys, what we're doing is we're getting the opportunity to go and see somebody face-to-face, because face-to-face is the best type of marketing. So you're all probably sitting out there thinking, what happens when someone rings your doorbell now? Well, I can't speak for you, but for myself, when someone rings my doorbell, I say 2 things. Number 1, unless it's the guy from the Chinese food restaurant or Giovanni's, I'm probably not answering. And 2, I look out the window, and what do? You typically duck and hide. We hide. Not going to answer. I'm going to pretend I'm not home. When they call me later, I'm going to say, oh, geez, I went for a walk. I took the dog for a walk. Wasn't that her barking? Nope, neighbor's dog. That was the neighbor's dog. Wasn't mine. Because that's how we react now. So how do we avoid that? Well, it's very simple, guys. Very simple. So a couple tips for when we go to do these pop-buys. The first thing, call ahead. Simple phone call. Hey, Rob, listen, I'm heading to an appointment right around the corner from you, but I've had something in my car for a few days. Do you mind if I swing by and just drop it off for you real quick? I pull up in front of the house. Leave your car running as you go to the door. Take the gift out of your passenger side door, which is probably facing the curb. Open that up and leave the door open. These are all signs that I can't stay. These are all signs that I am literally just dropping a present off for you and leaving. If I create the consistency of that, the more and more I do it, the more and more they're like, sweet, Rob's here with a present, and then he's leaving. Great. When someone asks you to come in the house, hey, Rob, listen, why don't you come in, grab a cup of coffee, let's have a glass of wine, let's have a beer, let's catch up. I can't. I got to head to that appointment. Then one of the things we're going to talk to about one of our future sessions here, guys, is, breaking bread with customers. That's an unexpected extra. It's another opportunity to promote ourselves in our database and talk, build a relationship. So what we do is when they say, hey, let's come in and grab a cup of coffee. No, but let's grab lunch or a coffee soon. It's another opportunity. Now you know when they meet you for coffee or lunch, now that's really truly an opportunity to converse face to face. But I'm not being aggressive and showing up at their house with a gift and hoping they invite me in. No, I'm going to set it up for a time they can expect it. Makes a huge difference in the relationship and how people respond to this stuff.
Rob, do you find this a good time to do this? Like, is this better to do in the evening since most people would probably be home then?
Okay. Yeah, and I think you're probably right, but I think it also depends on the people, Joe. And I think that's one of the things you're going to need to learn because every demographic is different. So you may have some demographic, for example, I had someone doing this who, she hit 100 over 2 days, but a lot of people were, in her mom's groups, baby groups, things like that. So it was easier for her to hit it more in the morning, middle of the day because they're home at that point. Whereas at night, they're getting the kids ready, they're cooking dinner, answering the door is not, the best time for them then. So I think that's something, again, Joe, that you need to learn for each client. I think you're going to find different options for different customers based on their lifestyle. And that's the type of thing we start to learn. Maybe our consistency starts at night, but now we start to learn that, hey, when I go by, Tim's house, well, Tim and Rob, the kids are there, whatever, you start to learn a little bit about that. So, I think that it could be the best time when most people are home, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the time that they're always available. Make sense, Joe?
Yeah, that makes sense. And if they're not there, you just leave something behind for them.
You do, but that's why I like the calling ahead thing, Joe, as well, because it gives me an opportunity. If they don't answer, they're not home, maybe I try to hit them another time when they're home. Because my goal is to try. Now, sometimes I do have to leave it, Joe. But my goal is to try to get there when they're home. Because even if it's 30 seconds that I just drop that off, because you don't want to be there for more than 2 or 3 minutes max. But the goal is to look at them in the eye and ask that question. Our new way of saying goodbye. Hey, Rob, don't forget, if you know of someone looking to buy or sell, I'd love to work with them. It's having that opportunity to ask them that and looking them in the eye. Because right now, if we think about it, I'm making the phone calls, I'm doing the note cards and things like that. But the whole point of the Popeye is face-to-face, eye-to-eye. It's really subliminally for the customer, it's about the gift. For you, it's about the fact of you get 30 seconds to look them in the eye and ask that question.
All right, thanks.
So I would always try to get it to the point where you can sit them in front of them and just have that quick 30 seconds. So we will expand on this stuff, guys, as we go through these upcoming weeks every Monday. But the last thing I want to touch on briefly before we wrap up this call is, a newsletter. I think, the fourth thing is sending a newsletter once a month. So, one of the great things with Century 21 is you actually get 4 newsletters every single month. You get 2 in English and 2 in Spanish every single month, right inside of 21 Online under Business Builder. We're going to sign in there real quick. But as this loads, when we talk about Business Builder, what we do is when we go into Business Builder, what we have the ability to do is print out these newsletters that are already done for you. And I've been having trouble with my 21 Online, so I'm going to skip Business Builder. But you can find on our training site, guys, I do have a video if you haven't been into Business Builder. You can find it right under c21netraining.com. under our training videos and technology videos. So you can find out how to get these newsletters in there, guys. But I want to talk a little bit about these newsletters because we only have a few minutes left. So, when we talk about these newsletters, it's a matter of simply printing a newsletter and mailing it once a month. But it's all about consistency. I think that's one of the biggest things is creating that consistency because when we think about it, we're all going out and we're all, doing certain things. But now we're doing the phone calls. We're talking to them every 60 days. We're doing the handwritten notes periodically throughout the year. We're stopping by at least 2 to 3 times a year with a small gift. Well, now if we throw in a newsletter once a month, the key to any mailing, now guys, this is the biggest piece. The key to any mailing to your sphere of influence, hand write the envelope. Always hand write your envelopes. Think about it at your own house. We all use labels because it's easy. I can print out 1,000 labels, boom, 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 boom. Well, that's great. Me personally, I'd rather send 100 handwritten envelopes versus 1,000 envelopes with labels. Because I'll bet you my 100 envelopes that are handwritten get opened more than the 1,000 envelopes you sent with labels on it. Thinking about it at your own house. You get your mail, you go, you script through it, you throw out stuff that looks generic with a label, chuck it. They don't open it, they don't see your name, they don't see your face, they don't see your brand. When something's handwritten, we open it 92% of the time statistically. So it means 92% of these letters that you send out are going to get opened. 92 out of 100 people are going to open that letter every single month. And even if they don't read that newsletter, they see your name, they see your face, they see your brand. They see it consistently. So the key is to get these out once a month. We're giving you the newsletters. All you need to do is handwrite 100 envelopes. And you mail them out. So now I'm also in front of them via a newsletter once a month. But it's all about consistency, guys. You need to come up with a set of habits. Create your flow. And this is something we'll continue to develop on as we move through these weekly sessions, guys. But, you know, a couple suggestions before we wrap up. We talked about 4 basic things today. We talked about the phone call, we talked about the note card, we talked about the pop-by, and we talked about the newsletter. One of the things that I did to help myself, you know, with my goals and my CRM, I made a punch list. Simple checklist. I posted it right in front of where I worked. Did you make your reminders today? Did you do your calls? Did you do your emails? Did you do your, you know, I made simple check marks and I made daily goals. You know, so when we talk about it, make your daily goals. So even when you think about sitting down and writing 100 envelopes, well, you're going to be sitting there doing a few other things, making phone calls, things like that. Write out 5 note cards, 5 envelopes a day for 20 days. Now, when you get to the end of the month, your cards are already, your envelopes are already done for your newsletter. All you have to do is stuff them. But if I'm sitting here and I write out 5 envelopes today while I'm doing phone calls, they're all ready to go. Set yourself up for success. You need to set up a workstation. You need to post this stuff in front of you, because one of the biggest things that I did was just having that visually in front of me. Simple notes of what I needed to do. It was a reminder. But when I see it in front of me, you feel the pressure to get it done. At least when it's out of sight, out of mind, you don't feel that pressure. When I see in front of me, did you do your reminders? You have to do 3 reminders every day. If I'm not doing them, I feel guilty. So set those goals, guys. Put them in front of you wherever you work. Look at them every day. That will help you become better. But I think the key to everybody's success at the end of the day when working sphere of influence is utilizing a CRM. So I just want to point out before we wrap up, if you do not have a CRM or you currently have one and you just want to check out what we have, check out our Zap Bootcamp. Under our training videos and support, I did our first one the other day. We have 3 more coming in the series, the next one being this Friday. But session 1 is live online, and you can go watch it right from our training website. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to open it up. Does anybody have any questions? This is a quiet bunch this week. So I'm going to ask next Monday that you guys have a couple extra cups of coffee, come in fired up, come in with some more energy. because we want to have some fun with these calls. And, agent interaction is a big part of it, guys. I want to hear what you do. I want to be able to hear what you're approaching. I want you to be able to share ideas. So we need you guys to get involved. It's going to be a big part of making these successful, is getting you involved. So don't be afraid. Nobody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to pick on you. I'll make sure of that. So with that being said, questions, guys. Anybody have any questions?
So, Rob, I lack serious creativity, as my wife would agree with, especially when it comes to any gifts or whatnot. Is there a list or any ideas you've come up with or whatnot that worked well? Like I made notes of the 3 that you had mentioned there or whatnot. Is there any other Popeye gift ideas and whatnot that you've come up with that, there's a list or something compiled of?
I do, Joe. So what I'll do is I'll post them on the training website, and I can send you a note as well. But I do have some ideas in here from Buffini, some different. I'll have to go through my files here. I won't bore you guys with it. But, I do have some different marketing pieces that you absolutely could use, some ideas, some tags. I actually have tags that are already designed and ready to go. So I do have some of that stuff that I'll get out to you guys later today, Joe. And then what I'd like to do is as we move forward with these, I'd really like to start to get more interactive online and have other people share their ideas. So it's something that I definitely would recommend posting on our internal Facebook group. I've worked with a lot of agents over the years, on these ideas. I can mention a few more. St. Patrick's Day, little chocolate bag of coins, the little gold coin, chocolate coins, little bag there. Ice cream scoops. Scratch tickets, I'll tell you guys. So before we wrap up, we got about 2 minutes left. I think I said till 11, so I got about 2 minutes. I'm going to give you guys this one. So this is actually one of the coolest ones, and we're going to talk about this at length in a few weeks. But a reverse Popeye, or even at Thanksgiving or Easter time, Christmas pies. You can go and do pies from Market Basket or Costco or BJ's or any of those wholesale places. You could probably work a deal to get a pie for $3 a piece. Imagine delivering apple pies to all your sphere of influence for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Something like that's a great idea. But I'd be glad to share some ideas with you if you ever have a certain time of year you're heading out and you just want some ideas. Don't ever hesitate to, shoot me a text, give me a buzz. I'll throw stuff out at you in seconds. I'll give you 5 suggestions in about 5 seconds probably. It's just kind of, you start to have fun with it, Joe. And I think once you get into it, you'll start to hone more in, and I think you'll get more creative, because I was never really a creative guy. But with these Popeyes, you actually learn to become creative, and it's kind of fun, Joe. So I think you'll actually become more creative by getting more involved with it.
Sounds good. I like your screwdriver one. That's fun.
That was one of my favorite ones. Don't get screwed by another realtor. Everybody's got about 10 of those orange handle screwdrivers. We never have enough, and people love that. But the great thing is it made people talk about it afterwards. I mean, that's what you want. Give them something that they're going to talk about and laugh about afterwards. And I think that's the cool part.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Well, we're going to end it there then for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this session. We'll be here every Monday talking about ways to grow your business. We just want to get more involved. If anybody has any suggestions, I'm always open. Please feel free to shoot me an email with any suggestions you'd like to hear on these calls, and I'd love to look into covering it for you. So with that being said, guys, go out, follow some of this stuff. The whole point of this is to get to you guys on Monday, so you guys get the whole week ahead of you to kind of put some of this stuff in action and mess around with it. So we'll be back here again next Monday to help you guys generate more business. But in the meantime, if I can do anything for you, call me, email me, text me, however you want to get in touch with me. I'm always around for you guys. I'm here to help you. Want to help you guys grow your business, and that's what we're here to do. So with that being said, guys, have an awesome week, and we'll see you guys next Monday. Thanks.
Thank you, Rob.